This is the homework for 577 A and B, 579, and 580. For 577, we need to write the first four terms for the sequence using T of n equals 4.5 and minus 8. So remember, sequence always starts with term 1. So if we do T of 1, we plug in 1 for n. So T of 1 equals 4.5 multiplied by 1 minus 8. 4.1 multiplied by 4.5 multiplied by 1 is 4.5 minus 8 gives us T of 1 equals negative 3.5. And I'll go ahead and put that in a table. If n is 1, T of n equals negative 3.5. And you can go ahead and continue to do that for the second term. So instead of T of 1, you're going to do T of 2. And so it's 4.5 multiplied by 2, which gives us 9. 9 minus 8 equals 1. So T of 2 equals 1. Now, you could continue to do that for terms 3 and 4. Plug it into the equation, or you can see the common difference. The common difference between these two terms, term 1 and term 2, is adding 4.5. And so since sequences have a constant rate or a constant difference, you're adding 4.5 to 1, which would give you 5.5 or 5.5. Add 4.5 to that, and you get 10. So you could either continue to do the plug it into the equation, or once you find the common difference, you can keep adding that common difference for the next terms. For part B, what would Avery do to write the 15th term of this sequence? Well, Avery would evaluate the equation for n equals 15 because n represents the nth term, and you're looking for the 15th term. So, and in order to find that, you would substitute n with 15. 4.5 multiplied by 15 equals 67.5 minus 8, which equals 59.5. So the value of the 15th term would be 59.5. For 579, you need to compute the following products. So here, I'm going to first show you using the distributive property for A. And then for B, I will show you how to use the area model. So using distributive property, you need to distribute each of these terms to each of the terms in the parentheses on the right. So we have 4x multiplied by 4x, which is 16x squared. So you're multiplying 4 multiplied by 4 is 16, x multiplied by x is x squared. Then you multiply 4x to the second term. 4x multiplied by negative 5, positive multiplied by negative is going to be a negative. 4 multiplied by 5 is negative 20x. Now you're going to multiply the second term. 5 multiplied by 4x is positive 20x. 5 multiplied by negative 5 is negative 25. Now we look for like terms, and there are no other x squares, but we have x and x. Negative 20x plus 20x equals 0, and then we have negative 25. So 16x squared minus 25 is your answer. For B, I'm going to show you how to compute the products by using the area model. So either for the previous one, we could have used area model or distributive property. It's really which one you prefer. So for using area model, well, first, 4x plus 5 squared, that just means that you have two groups that you're going to multiply of 4x plus 5. So we have 4x plus 5, 4x plus 5. Now I'm going to put that into an area model. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms all together. So when I create my area model, I need 4 boxes. And so I have 4x plus 5, so here's 4x plus 5, multiplied by 4x plus 5. And now I just go ahead and multiply for this box, 4x multiplied by 4x is 16x squared. And then 5 multiplied by 4x is 20x. And now I'm going to do 4x multiplied by 5 is 20x. And then 5 multiplied by 5 is positive 25. Now, just like before, we had to combine like terms in the previous problem. Well, here we have like terms, 20x and 20x. So altogether, we have 40x's. And then we have 16x squared plus 25. For 580A, you need to complete the table at right. So you can see that Lona started with 120 stamps, and each month it is increasing by 12 stamps because the club sends her 12 new stamps each month. So 120 plus 12 is 132, plus 12 is 144, and you just keep adding 12. It's at a constant rate. Part B, how many stamps will Lona have in 1 year? So one way you could do it is just keep doing the table for 6 months and keep adding 12 all the way up to 12 months, because 12 months equals 1 year. The other way is by using a linear function in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. M represents the slope, the rate of change, x represents the time, and b represents the initial value, what you started with. So we already determined that the rate of change is going to be 12. She's getting 12 new stamps each month. And x represents the time, and we want to know for 1 year, well, x represents the number of months, so 12 months equals 1 year. And then the initial value, the y-intercept, the b value, is what she starts with, and she started with 120 stamps. So 12 multiplied by 12 is 144. 144 plus 120 equals 264 stamps. So she'll have 264 stamps in 1 year. Part C, we're going to write the equation using function notation to represent the total number of stamps Lona has in her collection after n months. So we have total number of stamps, T of n, equals the slope or the growth rate, which was 12. N represents the number of months, and 120 equals the initial value. She started with 120 stamps. For part D, solve the equation from part C for n when T of n equals 500. So T of n is going to equal 500. So she's going to have a total of 500 stamps. And we're going to go ahead and solve for n. So we want to isolate the variables. So inverse property of addition is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 120 from both sides. 500 minus 120 equals 380. This creates a zero pair. This is multiplication. Inverse property of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 12. The reason why we're dividing by 12 is because this creates the giant 1. And 380 divided by 12 equals approximately 31 7/10. So N is approximately 31 7/10. The second part of D says, when will Lona be able to fill her book exactly with no stamps remaining? So it'll take her 31.7 months to collect 500 stamps. For part 2, will Lona be able to fill her book exactly with no stamps remaining? Well, if it takes 31.7 months to get 500 stamps, she will not be able to fill her book exactly, because in 31 months she will not have enough, and in 32 months she'll have too many stamps. So 31 months doesn't give her 500 stamps, and it'll take her to 32 months to get to get more than 500 stamps. So that will be too many. And the last part, when will the book be filled? The book will be filled after 32 months. Again, because 31.7 is 500, but she only gets stamps every month. So you have to round up to the next month, which is 32 months.